The MLB offseason is officially off to the races as we have a Juan Soto signing, and it is the worst case scenario for this Phillies team. Me and Luke Arcaini hopped on the mics late night tonight to break down what a disaster this is for this Phillies team, as you now have to face Juan Soto in the NL East for the next 15 years. Yes, that's right. We got the Jeff Passan tweet saying that breaking superstar outfielder Juan Soto and New York Mets are in agreement on a 15-year, $765 million contract. Sources tell ESPN it is the largest deal in professional sports history. And to add to that, Juan Soto's 15-year, $765 million deal with the New York Mets includes no deferred money, according to sources, and has escalators that reach above $800 million. So there are some opt-out situations. He could get a raise, but I'm not worried about any about that right now, Luke Arcaini. This one hit me a little bit worse than I expected to be the case. No, I didn't think the Phillies were legitimately in the running for Juan Soto, but I did not think this man would be walking into the NL East here. So, Luke, tossing you the rope right here. How you feeling? Take me through it.
Yeah, I don't feel good. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
It's just I really didn't think it was going to be the Mets, and like the whole Steve Cohen thing, like he was never going to get outbid. I think the person in me was just like I couldn't possibly imagine the Yankees
Right.
letting this guy leave the building. But the fact that this incredible franchise that's won 27 rings and hasn't been to the World Series in 15 years finally sniffs like some sort of success again and then basically lets like the next Ted Williams just like walk out of the door and like for nothing and like they tried to do the offer and they tried to match it and like it the fact that like at that point if you're at 760 just go to 8. Like, what's the difference at that point? You're gonna make like
Well,
the
35 million.
fact that the Yankees let him walk out of the building and go 15 minutes down the road to play in Queens for the next 15 years is absolutely bizarre. I mean, I would be in shambles if I was a Yankees fan. Like, I don't, I would be so incredibly just like disappointed. Like it's just it's a kick in the you know what to the fans to everything. It's like you finally sniff something and now you basically just let him walk to your biggest rival. I mean, the Subway Series every time the guy that just carried you to a World Series is now just going to crush homers. Like it's just insane. I mean, the Phillies have to play this guy 20 times a year again. This sucks. Everything sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I guess my only pushback on the Yankee side of things is I think if Juan Soto wanted to stay Yankee, he absolutely would have there. And I 100% expected that to be the case. That I personally perceived this entire situation that I thought Juan Soto was just driving up the price point as high as he could get it and then walk right back in those pinstripes next year. Obviously not the case as he is suiting up for the New York Mets next season and just absurd stuff to see that this is actually going down. So incredibly frustrated this is the case. And now, from a Phillies angle here, I struggle to think, like, how do you get better than this? And no, I'm not saying Juan Soto is a red carpet to the World Series here. Obviously, he did his job with the Yankees, was able, but he's as close to that as you're going to get. I mean, the stats speak for
About as
themselves.
close as you're gonna get, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much there. And when talking about this Phillies team, like, there isn't going to be a bigger fish on the pond in the market, whatever you want to put it with this. Juan Soto was the guy. And I get that the Phillies were not in the running for this, but it really sucks that we're starting to see like the pathway to the Mets becoming the Dodgers of the National League. And that's a really concerning thought, Luke. That's something that like you can't combat without deeper pockets, and you're not doing that with Steve Cohen. So is that kind of the pathway that you're seeing?
Kind of. I mean, I will say this: the Mets will never be the Dodgers. They'll never sniff the Dodgers. They lost. I mean, they still lost a lot of pitching. I
Yeah,
still don't. They don't even have a roster even remotely close to the Dodgers. I mean, they have the star power now.
right. It's a
But
start.
they're gonna lose Alonso. I don't know what they're gonna do there. I mean, they just threw away. I wouldn't say throw away because that is the absolute wrong word, but they just dumped a lot of money.
Sure.
So I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, how much money is Steve Cohen really willing to spend? I think that's going to be the telling thing for the Yankee or sorry for the Mets now is, I mean, you give Soto 765 million, but you can't just pay Soto. Like they got to go get pitching. They got to go get more bats. So they still have work to do. But I mean, the Phillies have more. The Phillies need to. They got to upgrade the pitching. They need hitters. They got to compete. Like they have to get back to the top or at least to the top because I mean right now the Mets probably beat them on paper
Yeah.
with Soto now.
And beat him on the
So
field this year.
yeah, beat him on the field. Yeah. Yeah, it stinks. It just really sucks that he's going to play for the Mets for the next 15
Yeah,
years.
it absolutely does. I'm a big believer in the field of dreams quote of if you build it, they will come. And I think that
Yeah.
applies to superstar athletes. And the Mets just got one in Juan Soto there. And to add to that, to make matters worse from Philly's perspective, shortly after the signing, that we get news that the Dodgers have landed a right-handed reliever kind of right in the exact marketplace where the Phillies are searching. Now, to talk about what exactly we know, we have from Dave Dombrowski directly to Todd Zaleski here saying right ahead of the winter meetings. Dombrowski said this week that the offseason priorities have not changed. An outfielder to play left or center field, a late inning right-handed reliever, and a number 5 starter. Now, we continue to hear plenty of reports connecting them to Garrett Crochet specifically, talking about the trade talks, Justin Crawford rumored to be included in this. I still struggle to sit here and look you in the eye, Luke, and believe that the Phillies are one Garrett Crochet away from making a World Series run. So what's kind of in your mind the pathway to combat this? Other teams are getting better. Obviously, the world or the full free agency has not kicked off. This was the main domino we were waiting on as the official launch point of free agency, as so many teams were tied up on this. But where are you at from a Phillies perspective here? What do you do?
Um, I mean, you just got to start throwing money out
Yeah,
like that. That's really what it is. If like you got to figure out a package for Crochet. I mean, you
have
like
to now.
if you can get that done, you have to do it. And I will say, I think now that the Yankees lost Soto, I think they're going to go hard for this guy. But I think you need to check back in on Alex Bregman.
It's gonna be a lot of money.
I think you gotta. I mean, you gotta go. Like you gotta go for it. I mean, don't start throwing 400 or 500 million out, but like you gotta go for it. Like you gotta make signings. You gotta continue to make this roster better. I don't know. I think Teoscar is if he doesn't go back to the Dodgers, which I think he will.
Yeah.
I think he is a very likely move for the Yankees now. I could see Anthony Santander going there as well. That would be a really good fit now, I would say. But I don't know. I mean, there's still every guy is still there on the market except Soto,
Sure.
right? Your Bregmans, your Santanders, Teoscar, all these big names. The guys are out there. The Phillies just have to be willing to go get them now. I think they will. I think. I I mean I would be shocked if they see the Mets do this and they don't make a big splash now. I like they can't go get a few relievers and a little bat or two and think it's going to be enough. They got to go hard at this thing now.
Yeah, 100% agreed with that there. And I hate to say this, Luke, but I have this little voice in the back of my head that has
Here we go.
consistently been there, but continues to get a little louder. Is the Phillies' window to win a World Series was their best opportunity maybe a couple years ago at this point? Should they have gone all in earlier? Are they going to regret this at this point in the game?
I mean, I think the window was the most open in
2022.
2023,
Okay.
probably.
Hmm.
Um, I think the window was I don't know. Because once again, I still and I've had this take, and I don't think it's gonna make a ton of sense. But I think the Mets are gonna win less games next year. And it sounds really weird. But I still think that the Mets overperformed last year as far as regular season. I mean, obviously Juan Soto is going to help a lot.
Sure.
But they got an unbelievable year from Lindor.
Who
You
rocks?
got this like freak show year from Vientos. Like
Yeah.
I, it sounds weird. I don't see the Mets like getting that much better, but obviously they have that star power now. Like I don't see over 162 game season them winning like 15 more games now.
Yeah.
But they have the closer, they have the guy, and that's what's scary is because now once they get in, they have Soto, they have Lindor. But as far as that 162 game season, I'm not like incredibly concerned about like losing the division and another playoff spot sort of being gone from the Phillies because I still think the Phillies are in very good shape. But as far as star power, I mean that one's gonna hurt for a while. 15 years to be exact.
Yeah.
But granted, there is, and they did say
Opt out.
there is an opt out after 5. And if I know the New York Mets, they will always Met.
True.
So if 5 years happen and Soto's only getting better, which I won't be surprised if he just continues to get better, um, maybe he leaves. Maybe he wants to come win for a real franchise. Maybe in 5 years, 2029 season, he'll be a Philly. I don't know. But it hurts. It sucks. I really wish he was a Yankee,
Yeah.
a Red Sox, a Blue Jay,
Anything
anything
else? Yeah.
other than literally the 29 other teams. I mean, this is the
Worst case
top of the
scenario.
list.
Yeah.
The absolute. I mean, I was saying this is like Giannis on crack going to the Celtics. Like it sucks so bad. It really really sucks.
Yeah, so I agree with your overall kind of take on like the Mets. I think played above their head last year. That I do think they were the fun, trendy young team that has outperformed expectations. But what I'm kind of reading the situation now is that Steve Cohen is going to do everything possible to dig in those pockets and make sure that this is now the standard. And it's unfortunate. We'll see how things play out. There's obviously plenty more offseason and plenty more roster that the Mets have to work on as well as every other team, but it's about as bad of a start to the offseason as we could hope for. I would feel incredibly just more encouraged if, like you said, any of the MLB teams right now. But the last thing that I want to end with, Luke, is you have a friend that's a Yankees fan right now. You got to look them in
Yeah.
the eye real quick. What are you saying? Are you telling them that you are now the little brother of New York? How do you make them feel better about this?
Absolutely. No, I mean, there's no way, there's no possible way to make him feel better.
It's true.
And like, and I get that a lot of them, and I've already seen like the big Yankees guys be like, oh, whatever, take this money and go. No, that's it's not. When you saw that contract go off, that no chance that was your first thought. There's no chance. They blew it. They blew it really bad. And I would be sick to my stomach if I was a Yankees fan
Yeah.
because you just watch that guy carry your other superstar who doesn't perform in the playoffs. Um, I mean, I'd be off the grid. Like I would be so upset.
Yeah, it's tough scenes. So about as bad of a start to the MLB offseason as we could kind of have.
Yeah,
Obviously, the
for sure.
Phillies not as tied to things here, or we're not in the Soto race, but your pathway to the World Series just got a little bit tougher as the Mets got better and you guys did not. So still a lot of offseason to unfold. We're going to be breaking things down every step of the way right here on Phillies Digest. This was the domino that we needed to fall before everything else can fall in place here. So expect Dave Dombrowski to be seeing the exact same notifications we are, to be feeling the exact same feelings that we are. So will be interesting to see what the results of this are from the other move standpoints here. There's a lot still to go down this MLB offseason. So we're going to be here from start to finish right here on Phillies Digest. As always, appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button if you have not already. Drop a like on this video and your comments below. This is a safe space. You can sound off, tell whatever thoughts you got below. So appreciate each and every one of you guys as always. And me, Luke, will be back with you next time right here on Phillies Digest. Peace.